What's up YouTube, Cardboss here, back in another video. Today we're going to talk about serial numbering and how to do price valuations on the different serial numbers. Now of course, what I'm going to talk about today is just a simple guide on trying to estimate the price ranges for a certain scarcity, and by no means I'm supposed to tell you guys what to invest or whether these cards I have in front of me is good for investment. It's just for illustration, just to see what I think the pricing structure works in terms of the different serial number. Okay, so again, these are all illustrative examples, and it may or may not work for all the different card sets that's available out there. Okay, so what I have in front of me here, it's a couple of examples. I have a PMG, some vibraniums, and this is a Marvel Universe 2014 diamond. Okay, I selected these cards not because of any set in particular, but more on the difference in the serial numbers, which I'm going to cover now. Okay, so first up I have a vibranium molten, which is out of 299 over here. Okay, so 299, it's perhaps is considered not as rare from the Marvel standpoint. I know we have some serial number like the masterpieces out of 1499, you know, I think 2000. Those are all big numbers, right? So 299s, it's relatively smaller compared to that number, but still a large number given that there are many other parallels with lower serial number from 99 or less. So my personal preference would be to stick to a serial number that's 99 or less for investment. But for vibranium moltens, I kind of give a slight exception to this set in particular due to the fact that it actually looks nice, that blood red background. It actually looks pretty cool, and you know, serial number 299 makes it pretty accessible to many investors and collectors out there. Of course, if you're talking about vibraniums, the prices on these cards have gone up significantly, you know, compared to 30 days ago. But as a starting point, we're going to use vibranium 299 as a base, right? And then we move on to something that's out of 99. So this is the refined version, same set. Okay, we're talking about refined. So typically, if you compare 299 versus 99, right? So this is 3 times the number in terms of the print count. So in normal circumstances, you would assume if you want to do a price estimate, something that out of 99 should be worth 3 times more than 299. It's just as simple as that, and I think that most investors would appreciate this sort of math. Of course, again, there are certain factors which may be different, like condition or maybe just the timing of that particular character, right? So let's say like a Moon Knight, you know, the latest release of the trailer, a Moon Knight out of 99 would suddenly command a higher premium as compared to 299. Again, the preference for investment is still 99 or less. So, but for this illustration, we're actually using the 299 as a base. So typically, something that's out of 99 would be worth 3 times more than 299. All right, so we're going to start off this as a base now. And we're going to move on to 2 other examples, which is the Radiance, that's out of 50. And this is also a PMG, right? That's out of 50 as well. So when you look at something that's out of 50 versus 99, so again, twice, or in fact half the number of the serial count, right? 50 versus 99. So you would expect something of this to be double, as simple as that. So most of the time, if you look at past trends, you would notice that something that's out of 50 would 2x. So with the PMGs, and the reason why I draw this example out is there's a lot of PMG reds that's being traded compared to PMG blues, right? And you know, prices are starting to climb up quite a fair bit. And for the reds, you know, because there isn't any lower serial number than the ones that's out of 99, therefore it's a lot of supply and demand. But when it comes to the blues, right, the prices are slightly more predictable, whereby it is most of the time 2x of the reds. Okay, again, the PSA grade on this plays a different. Like if I were to say that would a PSA 8 blue of a particular character be worth twice as much as PSA 8 of a particular character in red, most of the times I would say yes. Okay, but when it comes to PSA 9, where the grade I would consider that on a premium level, a PSA 9 not necessarily will equal a double of a PSA 9 in red. You know, there might be a slightly higher premiums for a 9 due to the fact that it's more scarce. And there are other factors to consider as well, like, matching uniform colors, background, talk about Spider-Man, red being his color and stuff like that. So that plays a factor as well. Now, so far so good, very easy, right? So from the red molten 3 times to get a 99, and to the out of 50, you times 2 to get something that's half the pop count of this, right? And now we come to something that's tricky, which is out of 10. So 10 is pretty much a very sweet number in the marble space, right? I have no idea why, but collectors generally love 10 because maybe it's just accessible enough. Like if you're talking about something that's 1 of 5, that's obviously 5 is pretty tight chase, and chances of it being pulled is much less as well. So 10 is kind of like the favorite number for whatever reason, okay? And of course, when you talk about PMGs, 10 is the green, which I don't have any. So I'm just using this Storm Marvel Diamond, which is out of 10 here as an example. Okay, so when you talk about multipliers from 50 to 10, right? So you're looking at something that's 5 times more than this. So prices are, normally if you take the same math ratio, it would be 5 times greater. And most of the time, that's generally true, okay? But what I've noticed is that's not necessarily the case, especially for higher chase cards, right? So I want to give an example. If only this, right? Because I don't have an example. If this was a PMG green of Venom out of 10, same copy, okay? And you go and look up comps, and comps will tell you, okay, let's just say this Venom is $5,000, for example, right? Okay, and then you have a PMG green that's sold out of 10 for maybe, let's say, $25,000, 5 times, so numbers make right. And another PMG green comes up auction, let's say, today, right? With a different serial number, obviously. Now, would that Venom also command roughly about 5 times of the blue? Now, this is a bit tricky, okay? Because when you talk about absolute scarcity, which is the serial number out of 10, chances of another 10 appearing, okay, for auction is actually pretty low, okay? And why do I say that? It's because normally when a card goes in auction that's out of 10 and it gets taken off the market, it's usually gone practically for good. And the number of available copies or potential available copies out there decreases by 1, right? So in fact, you're actually looking at potentially, if there was one Venom in this example that was sold recently, or let's say a month ago, okay, the next Venom comes up, you're actually looking at a population count out of 9, if that makes sense to you, because that one copy that was sold in the past is likely you will never see it again. So as more 10s come to market, it actually gets harder and harder for the subsequent 10 to reappear, okay? And therefore, you would see an exponential escalation in prices for 10s. The more copies it shows up, the next copy, and I don't find that surprising, because that's, I think, how it works, okay? So one thing for you guys, if you guys are really chasing the rainbow, for PMGs, I know some of you are, so be prepared that when you do your comp analysis or from your historical past data, you need to really dig up about how many of that greens were sold previously and what price were they sold for, and be prepared that you may not be actually paying those prices depending on when it was sold, and B, based on the standard multipliers of what the blue sold. So even if a blue sold today for $5,000, it doesn't mean that the green is going to cost $25,000. It depends on how many of those greens were sold recently, or in fact the last 12 months. So it's a lot of homework to do, and it's not, the data is not easy or readily available. It has to be going through the Facebook communities, asking around people, okay, whether they have seen this, and it's good to make friends in the community to find out this amount of data so that you can get the necessary information for you to do your pricing and to budget your purchase accordingly. Okay, so that's all I have today. It's just a bit of fact information that I wanted to share, which I discovered recently. But in general principles, like what I said, right? So something that's out of 50 versus 99, it's about 2x. So that's a reasonable assumption that you could use most of the times. And that's an assumption that I generally use, but it gets a bit tricky when you come to pricings that's numbered out of 10. All right, thanks guys for watching. Do subscribe if you like this channel, and I'll hit you guys with another video soon. Cardboard's out.